Hello and welcome to Frequency Intuitive and your timeless daily message. Let's see what comes out today. I have the Aquarius tarot here. This is new, and I've also chosen this moon. It's not a full moon, but I like the vibes anyway. I think it's a Labradorite for today's reading. If you resonate with that, we do have a full moon in Aquarius here where I am in Canada. Filming at this time. So in honor of that, let's see if anything comes out related. I did hear removing stale emotional patterns. So I'm not sure if that's going to come out, but I like how that feels. Let's remove stale emotional patterns. Page of Pearls. So pearls in here is the Pentacles, and this says attentive, adept, self-development. Yeah. And on reverse, it would be regression, procrastination, collapse. Lovely. Self-development. I am feeling that. I mean, you may be thinking like, I've been self-developing for the Olympics here, but isn't that just the journey of life? I'm not taking reversals today. Ooh, the Hierophant. Religious tradition, group thinking, conduct. And in reverse, revolution. Oh, maybe I should have taken that in reverse. I'm feeling this should have been in reverse. Renouncing traditional beliefs, revolution, insurrection. She's going reverse, friends. Sorry. It came out reverse, and when I'm doing oracle cards, I don't take them reverse, and I rarely use a tarot deck. I just use the tarot that's in the oracle decks, and so I just instinctively went to say no reversals because I don't use them in oracles, but as soon as I read that reversal, I knew she's meant to be reversed with the revolution. Sorry to confuse. I read intuitively, so as soon as I felt that nudge, I just shift directions, which could be a message coming out here. If like that rigidity, I feel like so much of that in the air, even in my own like self-development, that rigidity of like, oh, well, I said, so it's got to be. Well, I said I was going to do this, so I've got to. I said I was going to be a doctor, so I can't change my mind. I said I was going to be a teacher, so I can't change courses. There's something about us releasing that stale emotional pattern of, well, because I initially thought this, I can't self-adjust. That's all I'm going to say on that now. 8 of Cups coming out, escapism, disappointment, equivocation, and then in reverse, it would be crossroads, trying on more time. Interesting. 8 of Cups, escapism, disappointment. I'm not getting anything from that, but I do feel to put it in the past position. I actually went the Hierophant and the... Okay, what else here for whoever's finding this message? Oh, sorry, an Ace of Cups. Okay. Mystic vessel, new beginnings, divine kinship. Okay. So this could be a new emotional situation coming up here. And with the 8 of Cups, I feel like there could be something in your life, like I said, stale emotional patterns that you're walking away from. That was disappointing, essentially. It's not yielding what you thought it was going to yield. And with the Ace of Cups here, kind of at the center of your reading, I see something new coming in that's brings hope. I'm feeling hope with it. I feel like you're doing a lot of self-work, a lot of self-reflection, a lot of self-development. I feel like you're challenging old beliefs and old traditions within yourself. Like I said that, well, I said I was going to, so now I have to. And I'm not saying like, don't be true to your word, don't have integrity, but I am saying that, well, I'm not saying, but the cards are showing that, and it's coming out of my mouth, that, there's something here about really checking in with your own inner knowing, inner wisdom, and inner guidance. And I think sometimes that feeling of like, ooh, I feel like I might have to change my mind on this, or I feel like, is because we're trying to serve an outside audience. We're trying to serve an outside expectation. And so initially, because we're here in this 3D rendering, and we are conditioned, have been conditioned, depends how much you've been able to uncondition yourself and all of this, but whatever paradigm and belief system and social structure or expectation you're in, sometimes we immediately knee-jerk say, oh yeah, okay, no, I'm going to do that. And then when we check in with ourselves, that's where the real integrity is, to be true to that inner knowing. And so sometimes it can look like you're flip-flopping, but really you're letting go of stale emotional patterns and behaviors, and people-pleasing behaviors. I'm gonna move to a different deck here because I really feel called to get this one right now. There's some discomfort here in the energy. There's discomfort in the reading, and I'm okay with it. It's a little bit of lack of flow. So let's see if we can bring more flow in. It's that questioning. So you may be feeling this in your energy, like, did I make the right decision? Should I? You may be second guessing yourself. It could be full moon energy, depending on how much you believe that affects you. It just depends on your belief system and how much you're into astrology or resonate with that. But the Aquarian moon can bring a little bit of lack of an emotional reservedness. But what I would say is focus on the vision of where you're going. Like, if you can let all of this old stuff, just let it go a little bit and let it crumble. Like, let that cookie crumble. If that cookie's too dry, let it crumble and dissolve and bake a new cookie the way that you would like it to be, And the thing is, you can use the same ingredients, right? Like, because I can hear some of you thinking like, oh, but I want to keep this relationship. I want to keep that friendship. Okay, but sometimes it's no problem. And sometimes it's, you get to choose. Sometimes it's our energetic. It's our energy. Oh, this is getting deep on the baking analogy. It's our energetic ingredients that make it crumbly and dry. It's maybe our projections, our expectations, the energy that we're leading with, our energetic influence, like where we're sitting, what if we're anchored into ourselves or not, that makes that cookie dry. I hope this is making sense, because I'm just craving a chocolate chip cookie right now. But when I listen back to this, I know that I'll be like, wow. So some just slid off the top here. I'm going to take them. Simplicity, new beginnings. Yeah, okay. So you Ace of Cups. So that's your new beginnings. I feel like these are going to go out of the frame. So pardon me for a moment here. Pardon me. Okay, new beginnings with the Ace of Cups. I'm checking. Burp. Burp. How are you guys doing? How are you feeling? Comment down below. Okay, so some new beginnings, forgiveness. Okay, so with the Eight of Cups, I can see something here being possibly let go of or re-envisioned, like letting go of an old interaction, letting go of an old way of being, letting go of it, and it could be literally letting go of an old relationship, old job. And when I say old, I mean it's stale to you. That's stale, emotional. Like, we're not eating stale cookies around here, people. Okay, we're baking fresh batches these days. Yeah, pleasure. There's no pleasure in a stale cookie. I don't know why the cookie's so strong, but it is strong in this reading. If you're just sitting there with your hand in a bag of cookies, just comment down below, because I feel you. But no, it's an analogy or it's a metaphor. We don't know. But one day I'll look that up and figure out which one's which. But you have pleasure here, and then you have simplicity. Both of which I feel in this energy and in this reading. Okay, you literally have new beginning on this Ace of Cups card. The simplicity, this reading just feels so like there's so much depth to it. Like I feel like I need an hour to get into this, but I'm gonna pull out the pearls, okay? The simplicity is coming in the sense of beginning to approach your own self-development and your own lifestyle and your own personal fulfillment and satisfaction from a position of simplicity, kind of removing all of the, for example, let's just keep the cooking analogy. Sometimes, you go to like one of those really fancy bakeries and they're like, oh, we've got a triple heavenly hash, peanut butter, double fudge covered with the icing with the sprinkles on top. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's more, it's more, it's more. It means it has to be better. It's going to be great. And then you bite into that and you're like, wow, that's too much. That's just too much of everything. And then you find yourself going home and taking flour, eggs, sugar, baking soda, chocolate chips, and like these simple ingredients. And you get the satisfaction from that cookie that you baked. A, because you baked it with your own hands. And B, because the simplicity of those ingredients. So there's something to this about applying this to your life right now, where maybe there's something that's getting overcomplicated, or maybe there's a relationship that you thought you needed all the bells and whistles, but really you need a good bear hug and a check-in, once in the day, and that feeds you. But because we look on social media and we look to our friends, and you thought, oh, I need a Louis Vuitton bag, and no shade to Louis or anyone who has that, and I need roses every week, and I don't know why this is coming up, I'm just flowing with it, this is really strongly coming through, and I need a date every day, and I need, and listen, you get to want what you want. So if that's what you want, and that's you truly, you know what I'm saying? Like you do you. Then that message wouldn't be for you, But for those of you who there was a social expectation or conditioning or layer of too muchness that maybe wasn't really coming from your own self, and apply that to anything. That can be a job. For example, you might think, oh, this doctor one keeps coming up. I got to be a doctor because I want the accolades, I want the reputation, I want the, obviously you're doing like majorly selfless work. Don't forget about that part. I'm not trying to say that that's what it is. I'm just saying I'm getting an example of someone thinking, this is what I want to do because it has all these layers and it has this, do you know what I'm saying? It holds a weight in society, and people will, I will feel worthy and I will feel like I'm doing good. And then really you're like, you know what? I really just wanted to be a painter. That's what I want to do. I like painting beautiful pictures. I like painting beautiful houses. I like painting rooms. I don't know if I'm giving this good analogy, because sometimes I feel like I'm offending people either way. Now I've offended painters and doctors, but I think, you know what I'm saying. Sometimes whether it's career or a relationship or our lifestyle, sometimes we overlook how good simplicity feels to us and how it really delivers everything that we wanted, if that makes sense. I'm going to move on from that. And then, the pleasure, how it can bring in the pleasure. Like I'll personally get more satisfaction from sitting literally outside in the sun, like just for 5 minutes. I know, I'm not doing anything unsafe, but getting my, 5 minutes of daily vitamin D, and just that warmth and the breeze on my skin. Like it's so simple. Nothing was required. It was there. It was free. Then I get from, what I used to do, like getting a bottle of wine, ordering Uber Eats, watching a funny movie, and trying to have like, a self-care night that had like so much layers to it that and I didn't get that same satisfaction, from that 2 hours of kind of like mindless dopamine searching than I get from Mother Nature in 5 minutes. There is some confusion in the energy here, like it's coming through in the message. I don't feel like I'm communicating clearly to you, so I hope that you're getting it. And then we do have this forgiveness card, so this could be self-forgiveness. There can be somebody here that you have to forgive, let go. There could be something from the past. The reason I pulled this deck was because I saw in my mind the release card. It didn't come out, but the forgiveness came out, and the new beginnings, which is basically two other ways of saying release the past and release something that that's maybe mentally plaguing at you, you know. And forgiveness, you have to use that word in whatever way works for you, because some people it's very triggering. I'm not going to forgive them, you know, if they did me wrong. Absolutely, you know, you do you. But forgiveness in the sense of releasing anything that you feel bonded to, a thought pattern, a person who wronged you, yourself, if you're having shame about something, and letting it go, letting it be what it was, and then moving forward, taking the lessons that you need to take from it with you. I'm gonna get this Moonology deck. Fiery climax approaches, full moon in Aries. Okay, just putting this in your past. Sorry, I was just mentally getting the messages there, but so I was joking with a friend earlier today about like how they had to defeat the final boss. Like they had a situation in their life, and I was like, oh, it's like you defeated the final boss. I'm seeing that here for you with this fiery climax approaches, because all of the mental conversation that went on in my head when that pulled out was everything that I saw was there's so much watery, like soothing energy here. There's this simplicity, this new beginnings. It's fresh, it's gentle, it's serene, it's simple. There's pleasure, there's satisfaction, there's fulfillment. There's releasing things here with the Eight of Cups. There's new things starting with the Ace of Cups. There's this self-development, this inner world. There is this Hierophant with this reverse, which we discussed, with this revolutionary energy, which is this also a fiery climax approaches energy. And then it was like, I just saw you kind of taking a step into this new world, and then this final boss just coming out of like, you know, the side of the video screen and being like, not yet. So it's possible, and don't be like alarmed. I see it with a lot of humor. Like this could be, you know, like you try to leave a job and your literal boss comes and says, well, we're going to offer you more money then, and tries to coerce you to stay. Or this could be, you know, that friend who just sends like one last kind of like toxic, you know, paragraph off to you to try to, you know, guilt you or emotionally manipulate the situation if you've been trying to walk away. Or it could be that ex who just kind of won't let it go and keeps popping up out of the woodwork. And you're like, listen, I'm ready for you. I already know all the tricks. I already know the game control here. It's up, up, down, down, left, right, power, power. You know the move. You're ready for the final boss. And so that could be coming up here with this new moon in Aquarius energy. And you got, full moon in Aquarius this weekend, and you have this full moon. There could be something, it could be completely internal. If you're like, you know, all of a sudden this just anxiety crops up, or this rage about something, or, you know, this old paradigm that you're like, oh, I haven't thought about that in years. And there you are, my friend, you know, come with me, my shadow. Let's sit down and have a bonfire, and let's burn and release this old stale cookie, you know, mindset, whatever it is, if it's self-blame or self-reproach or perfectionism, or, you know, like I really get this now. I feel like we're really hitting the nail on the head. All of a sudden, all the chaos in the reading just like just centered down to this like single point, which is this. It is all clearing up. You're going into smoother times here in August. I can feel that moving into the rest of the year. It's steadying out. But it's like you've set your sailboat out on smooth waters, and you know, there's a quick rainstorm that you have to get through, and out the other side type of thing. So apply that only if it resonates to your situation. But I can't think of one of us who doesn't have some sort of stale mental pattern or emotional thing that wouldn't serve us to approach with a new vision and a new mindset, and bake in a new way, basically, and to not transcend, transmute that energy. You could transcend it if you want, but let's transmute it and bring it into a new, oh, I really see this. It's like it's like if you defeat the final boss, but you don't even defeat the final boss, you befriend the final boss, and and the boss somehow becomes an ally. It doesn't mean it has to be that specific person, but just the energy. Like if the energy there was rage or resentment, you defeat it, you transmute it, and all of a sudden you get a power up from that becomes clarity or strength or speaking your voice or assuredness or self-confidence. It becomes something valuable to you, and it stays with you. It could be a lesson learned. It could be a new timeline shift. Like you defeating that boss, you might be like, and when I say boss, I mean like in the video game term of like something that's a challenge, right? A challenge. I don't mean your literal boss, but it could be your literal boss if that's your situation. But you defeating this and transmuting it, it's like, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. It'll come back to me. But it comes with you in a new way, and it strengthens you. Wow. Not us getting full moon in Aquarius on the full moon in Aquarius when the reading's about the full moon in Aquarius. You like that? You like that? We like that. We like the synchronicities here. So there could be Aquarius energy, there could be Aries energy. Those could be your signs, but it really doesn't have to be. There's just a lot of that energy here right now. Did this not come out yesterday, guys, in yesterday's daily reading? If you didn't read, nobody read it. If you didn't watch yesterday's reading, there might be a message there for you, because it had this energy of you're not going to fit in, you're not going to blend in, you're not for everybody, embracing the you that is you. It had this revolutionary tone to it also. So show the world the real you. And yes, I love that because I feel like there is an element of masking that may have been going on in all of us, in society, quite frankly. But if there is, like I said, this knee-jerk reacting, this people-pleasing, this putting everyone else's expectations or conditioning above your own feelings and desires and hopes and needs. And I feel like this showing the world the real you is this redefining of, like we talked about yesterday, who you really are, your desires, what brings you fulfillment, what makes you unique, what your own personal voice is, what your soul really came here to do and to experience, and the new beginnings. I really feel that with this new moon. Why do I keep saying new moon? Because I'm getting like new energy. So I feel like it's a new moon, but I guess then it is going to be a new moon, right? So, I mean, that's coming up right next. So, but with this full moon, I really see this releasing of this kind of like masking old behaviors, old expectations. It's about yourself, and it's about the things that we put on others and we put on situations, expectations we put on ourselves, expectations we put on others, the layers that we build up over top of the simplicity that would bring us the same pleasure and fulfillment. And I just see this newness with you coming out and saying like, actually, I own, this is what would bring me pleasure and fulfillment, and it's this, and this is what I want to do, and this is actually who I am, and this is the reaction that I truly have about this. Like, I've found myself in the past week catching myself. I'll say something to somebody or a friend or to myself, and then I'll say, I actually don't really feel that. I actually really don't. And I'll have to catch myself and say, sorry about that. My apologies. Retract that statement. Because that was a wound. That was a wound talking, not me. Because when I checked in with myself, I don't feel that way at all. And that's subtle. That's subtle because you have to feel beneath the trigger. Do I really feel that way? Or is that my ego trying to protect me? Or is that an old hurt? Or is that a self-protective mechanism that I built up over top of, and I laid it over top of this? And I feel like we're dismantling all of this madness, all of this chaos, all of these layers that have made the cookies so stale. The cookies are stale, people. The cookies are stale. And then bring back the moist cookies. And we're gonna bake them ourselves, and it's just gonna be like, this is what I came for. This is what I came for. These 5 simple ingredients. It just brings me such pleasure and joy and satisfaction. There's ease in it. There's integrity in it. There's truth in it. That's what it is, guys. There's truth in it. There's truth in the new moist cookies. It's the truth of who you really are. It's how you wanted to bake it. It's the ingredients you really wanted to be in there. Whether this is a conversation you had, a relationship, like this goes into everything. Your work situation, you're bringing truth, your own truth, and your own internal real desires into this. That's what I see. This is, I want to say for today, but this is like bigger than today. But I see this energy starting today. If it hasn't already been starting here for you for weeks or months, I feel like it would have been. But you may hear this message and be like, that's what I'm feeling. It's a discomfort with this old, like every time you have that knee-jerk reaction, every time you have that old thought come up, you're feeling uncomfortable. You may be getting anxiety in your like solar plexus because you're like, what feels off about this? I don't even feel like I want to have this response or thought or reaction or interaction. It doesn't feel like me anymore. And so now the visionary, the Aquarius visionary energy comes in, the star energy, and says, what do you hope for? What are you creating instead? How would you prefer it to be? How is it really for you? How do you really feel? What do you really feel aligned to within this? And that's discovery. So you may be going into a discovery exploration energy with yourself over the next month or so, or for the rest of the year, where you're discovering how would you really react in this situation? How does the real you react? What does the real you say? What type of love and humor and light does the real you bring into the situation where before you might have shut down or clammed up or got insecure, where you don't feel the need to close up like that anymore? How does the real you handle and navigate and interact with life? And that's the message that I'm getting for today. Thank you so much for being here. If you resonated at all, do your thing, do the like, subscribe, whatever. If you haven't done it already, comment. I love y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for staying with me. If you're here to the end and getting through the beginning of that, it was a rocky start there, but we got there in the end and it was worth it. And I hope you have an absolutely fantastic, magical day that you just didn't even see coming, and it just knocks your socks off. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.